Back. Nicholas Atwine is back to discuss primary science, particularly classifying animals, and go direct to invertebrates. Invertebrates, it's the opposite of vertebrates. We looked at vertebrates as animals with backbones, but these invertebrates, these are animals without backbones. And we are saying that they are multicellular, meaning their bodies are made up of many cells. We have different classes. We shall look at coelenterates, echinoderms, we shall look at sponges, we shall look at mollusks, we shall look at arthropods at length. We shall actually discuss arthropods at length because arthropods are further divided into four. We start with the coelenterates. They have cylindrical bodies with only one opening, which acts as mouth and anus. All coelenterates have one natural opening. It acts as entry for food and exit for food, for undigested food. They have stinging cells on tentacles surrounding the openings, meaning they defend themselves by stinging. That's the mode of defense. They also live in water. We got examples of coelenterates. We have corals, we have jellyfish, we have hydra, we have sea anemone. All these stay in water. Then we got echinoderms as another group. They have spiny skins and tube feet. These are echinoderms. They pump liquid into their feet to make them expand. Meaning if they want their feet to expand, they just pump liquid into them. Examples, we have starfish, we have sea urchins, we have sea lilies, we have sea cucumbers. We got sponges. This is not a sponge we use to bathe and remove dirt from our bodies. No, it's a group of invertebrates. The sponges are a collection of individual cells organized into one body on the sea floor. So it's just collection of individual cells. Different cells merge and are just found at the floor of the sea. They cannot move about but remain stuck on the sea floor. That's one. They suck in water sea and filter out tiny pieces of food. They breathe and feed through the holes in their bodies. Those are sponges. We got mollusks. It's another interesting group of invertebrates. These are invertebrates with soft and unsegmented bodies. Their bodies are not segmented at all. And their bodies are covered by a protective shell or mantle. They live on land, in fresh water, or salty water. It's where mollusks do stay. Some mollusks do not have shells like octopus. Mollusks produce by laying eggs. They will ask the mode of reproduction, or they will say, how are mollusks? Or they may pick one example and say, how is an oyster similar to birds in terms of reproduction? You must know that birds lay eggs. So you will also say that they all lay eggs. We got examples. We have octopus and squids, the largest and most intelligent. They move by jet propulsion. They just use this mode to move. Then other examples, we have snails and slugs. We have oysters. We have cuttlefish class. Make sure you master you master examples of animals in this group. Then snails live on land and in water. We are looking at snails. They feed on plants. That's one. We must know that they feed on plants. Then they are carnivorous. They feed on plants while others, they are both herbivorous and carnivorous. Some feed on plants, some feed on meat. Slugs are similar to snails but do not have shells. Slugs are almost similar to snails, but they don't have shells. We got worms, another group, worms. These are thin, long, and soft-bodied. They are thin, long, and have soft bodies. Some live in soil, some and others live in water, while other are parasites living inside. Some live inside bodies of animals. And they breathe through their moist skins. They may ask, what do maybe a tapeworm use to breathe? You must say it uses its moist skin. And they reproduce by laying eggs. We go to groups of worms. We have segmented worms or annelids, round worms, nematodes, flatworms or platyhelminthes. We got segmented. These are worms whose bodies are divided into segments or rings. They live in soil and water. Examples, we have leeches, we have bristleworms, earthworms. They live in soil and eat soil or decayed vegetation. You need to know the role of earthworms. This is a case in point of earthworms. Earthworms aid in the composition of organic matter. Then all those segmented worms are hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female reproductive organs. On one animal, you can find their male and female reproductive organs. They help to aerate soil. That's the role of earthworms, helping to aerate, master the spelling of the word aerate, by making tunnels. Or they may say, how do earthworms aerate soil? You say by making tunnels. And they also improve in soil drainage. Those tunnels aid in soil drainage. They help in formation of humus because they will decay, they will eat and make organic matter decay. We got flatworms. They have flattened and segmented bodies. Their bodies are flat and segmented. Like as we see this flatworm, this is a tapeworm. You can see these segments. Then many of them are parasites of man and other animals. They entirely depend on man to get food. Examples, we have tapeworms, we have flatworms, we have pond flatworms, we have river frogs. This one can affect domestic animals like goats, sheep. Tapeworms feed on digested food. We needed to know the food these tapeworms feed on, digested food. And where do they stay? They stay in small intestines. Sometimes they ask that why do people with hookworms, or rather tapeworms, always feel hungry after they have just taken food? You will say tapeworms feed on digested food. Liver frogs suck blood from animals. This is a tapeworm. And you need to know that the general name given to the head of a tapeworm is squarex. Squarex is the general name given to the head of a tapeworm. Then tapeworm has suckers, rather hooks and suckers. Then we have the neck, then we can see segments. That's a tapeworm. You need to know the role of hooks and suckers. So hooks do attach. They do attach tapeworm to intestinal walls. Then for suckers, they suck digested food, not blood, but digested food. We move to the next and see roundworms. These are groups of worms with cylindrical bodies. Their bodies are cylindrical. Some are parasites in man and other animals and plants, while others live in water. They are pointed on both ends. We have a case in point of hookworms. Hookworms can enter our bodies through bare feet, and when they enter our bodies, they feed on blood. That one is absolute. We have eelworms, we have pinworms, we have threadworms, we have ascaris. Hookworms enter our bodies by penetrating through the skin of bare feet. When you move in muddy areas barely, then you are at the risk of having hookworms enter your body. And when they enter, they feed on blood. Then bathing or drinking contaminated water. That's how sometimes they enter. That's shortly what we can discuss on the introduction of invertebrates, and we have seen those few groups. We are coming for arthropods.